This content is for informational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Nothing contained on here constitutes a solicitation, recommendation, endorsement, or offer by Draper, Goren, Holm, or any third-party service provider to buy or sell any securities or other financial instruments whatsoever. That includes NFTs. And you can catch the recording of this Blockchain and Booze on our media partner site, Blockchain Radio, and you can also check it out on our YouTube channel as well, Draper, Goren, Holm. And today's topic is all about non-fungible tokens, and we have some OG NFT people in the space, from Alex, FEWOCiOUS, Javier, Emma, Jordan, and also Alon. I'll throw you in the mix too.
Did you throw in NFTs into the disclaimer in advance, or was that ad-lib? Did you think about that?
That was creative energy.
Okay.
Just going.
You prepared that in advance, man. You really proud. Okay.
Yeah. So NFTs. We got really cool people with us today, and kind of different experience levels listening. So I kind of want to hand the baton. Let's go to FEWOCiOUS really quick, okay? For those who don't know what an NFT is, okay, a non-fungible token, give them just like I guess a really brief explanation.
Me?
Yes.
Are you sure? Oh my God, this is so much pressure. Okay, I don't know everything, like all the y'all are smarter than me, okay? I feel like I'm newer than all of you. Oh my God, I'm so nervous. I feel like I'm in class where the teacher calls on you. An NFT is basically, dang, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, I don't know how to explain it.
Talk about it, I guess, from the perspective that you take NFTs from, right? So you do the whole digital art thing, right? And create really cool masterpieces online. So pitch it from that perspective. And I guess we'll give it to Javier, because Javier will take it from perspective. Jordan will take it from a different perspective.
Before I want, like, let's do the 10-second explanation, but let's have each person go one by one introducing themselves too, because everybody's hitting it from a different angle.
See, I'm so excited. I completely forgot about that. Okay, introduction. Alex, go ahead. Give us your intro, and then we'll move across.
All right, I'm Alex Atallah. I'm one of the co-founders of OpenSea, the CTO. And OpenSea is a eBay-style marketplace for NFTs.
Shout out to OpenSea for hooking us up, and Alex for all of the frantic, annoying emails I sent the 2 weeks leading up to the big charity NFT campaign we did. I think there's still some, we're putting the rest that didn't sell up for sale, but we've raised, I think, somewhere around $8 grand or more for frontline COVID workers through it. And that was a huge help that Alex hooked up and helped us along the process and along the way. So nice. OpenSea really made that possible.
So Alon, give your quick spiel, because you're no longer a regular. So for those who aren't familiar with Alon Goren, give your spiel.
I'm one of the founders of Draper, Goren, Holm. We produce these things. We invest in early stage blockchain startups, but we're really a group of entrepreneurs who build shit ourselves and have always done everything ourselves. So, you know, like LA Blockchain Summit is a conference that we created mostly because we were just nerds for the space and into it. And, you know, until Adam joined us, Joseph and I were the only two full-time people to do it. So we know what it takes to build shit. We're a startup ourselves, helping other startups do cool stuff in the space. And we are now also, we have a fund that invests in companies. Ryan Calder, I love you, man. Sorry, I'm reading the chat at the same time.
Emma, go ahead. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm the DIGITALAX. We're a digital fashion focused kind of NFT platform. So we're doing a number of things. We're working with digital fashion designers globally and running really cool auctions. So we actually just finished our very first auction about 2 hours ago. So that was really exciting. And we had like a huge amount of bids just come in at the last minute. So it got really intense. But yeah, that's kind of the core part of our platform. But we're focused a lot on the gaming and VR side and looking at how we can kind of do cool things around interoperability of digital fashion NFT assets and how you can kind of have different versions that can go across game and cross platform. So that's kind of the bigger vision for the project.
That's awesome. That's really cool. It sounds interesting. FEWOCiOUS, take the stage.
Oh, I'm FEWOCiOUS. I'm a 17-year-old artist. I make crypto art, NFTs. That's what I do.
Cool. Awesome. Short, brief, to the point. Javier.
I'm head of ecosystem development at DeFi Money Market Foundation. And for all of you that don't know, it's basically a decentralized protocol that allows users to earn 6.25% on their Ethereum-based digital assets. And it's all backed by real-world income-producing assets.
And last but not least, Jordan.
Hey, what's up? I'm Jordan Lyle. I work at Consensus, but I also am one of the accidental founders of the Meme Project. And we do a bunch of cool things in and around NFTs and NFT arts and really experimenting at this kind of intersection of NFTs and DeFi. My background is in DeFi. So we were kind of the pioneer of NFT mining or NFT farming, whatever you want to call it. Really excited to be here. I was on, I think back in August, whenever that was, our last NFT panel. And that was a lot of fun. And that was the early days, like a week after we launched the Meme Project. So I'm excited to be here again.
It's funny because do you remember, you launched it over the weekend, right? It was over the weekend, and that following Tuesday we had the blockchain and booze. And you're like, I don't even know what's going on. Something just happened.
Yeah, I had gone like the whole weekend with very little sleep, and I was just along for the ride and trying to figure out what this thing was. And there were so many passionate people trying to push it forward, and we didn't know what we were going to do. And then, just a few days later, we had a product on mainnet. It was quite a wild ride, and we're kind of coasting on that momentum, continuing to iterate, continue to work with awesome artists. We're working on a version 2 kind of in the background. So lots of cool things to come.
Nice. Very cool. Okay, now back to the original question that I completely butchered in the beginning, okay? And back to FEWOCiOUS, okay? Because I want to hear NFTs from your perspective, and I'll put you on the classroom spotlight, okay? Define from what you do, from how you treat NFTs, how would you explain it to someone who's not familiar with it?
Yeah,
like your mom.
How do you explain to your mom the first time you made money selling a picture on the internet?
I said, Mom, okay, so basically there's this thing called crypto art. And then what it really is an NFT. NFT stands for non-fungible token. And basically the token is something that represents either 1 out of 1 or like however many in the, I don't know how to explain it, the blockchain. And then she asked, what's a blockchain? And then I tried to explain it. I don't really know how to explain it. Yeah, it's just something unique that represents something else, right?
Okay, fair. Who wants to take a stab at it next? Because that's like from the digital art perspective. Emma, I feel like you have a completely different approach as to how you look at NFTs with all the fashion stuff that you're doing. So I kind of want to hear from your side.
Sure. I don't know. I kind of agree with FEWOCiOUS. It's kind of hard to explain, like put in an English sentence in a sense, but maybe how I'd explain, it's a lot around the ownership side. So kind of you're able to kind of verify digital ownership and then attach that ownership to a form of an asset. So I guess like taking kind of inspiration from the fashion side, it's still similar to crypto art, I would say. I mean, at its core, it's all about how you can kind of verify digital assets and ownership, but I'd say maybe the distribution is a little bit different. So I see that NFTs have kind of a really unique, I guess, ability to like verify digital distribution and kind of provide a lot of like authenticity attached to that and transparency. And this is, I guess, quite unique for fashion when you think about more from like a supply chain perspective. And you know how you can actually kind of create digital fashion assets and then give kind of designers identity behind that to those assets. So we're kind of looking a little bit more at that side. It's not just, how an NFT can just show ownership to an asset, but how it can also kind of attach back to a designer and an individual in that sense.
Yeah, Adam, you're muted, but I was just going to add on that when I try to explain it to people that don't know what's up, like I had to explain it to my parents when my son made a couple grand selling NFTs, and they were like, what is this thing he's doing? And he was trying to explain to them. And I just tried to explain it to them like the baseball cards and comic books that I still have at their house. I was like, it's just a digital version, but there's a way through technology to verify there's only one, or there's only 10, or what the serial number is. And they still don't totally fully understand, but that's okay, because FEWOCiOUS understands, and the people making bids on Emma's site understand. It's just a matter of time till we, everyone else does. Or, I remember my parents thinking the comic books and baseball cards we were collecting when we were little were really stupid too. But who cares?
Yeah.
Right?
I kind of want to hear Alex's point of view, because OpenSea was founded in 2017, right? Before this whole wave of attraction kind of piled into the space. So Alex, when you guys first started creating OpenSea, what was the state of NFTs during that time? And how have you kind of seen them evolve throughout from then over the last 3 years?
Back then, all NFTs were either CryptoPunks or CryptoKitties. With a couple other experimental art projects, and we saw a lot of CryptoKitties clones. CryptoKitties, for those who don't know, it's kind of like Neopets. You buy these game items, you can breed them to make interesting and potentially very rare and valuable ones, and then you can sell them on open marketplaces. So we saw a lot of potential in how these items were constructed. They didn't depend on the game lasting, and they're kind of like a piece of art that you would hold on to forever and that no one could take away from you. So people have owned game items for a long time. That's nothing new. And when I see people who don't know what NFTs are, I bring up the game use case, but I also talk about how you can own e-tickets on StubHub. You can own a username on Twitter. Your Twitter handle is like an NFT. It's a digital good, and only one person owns it. And just having a place where you can trade all of these things in one place lets people discover them. So we wanted to do those two things really, really well, and that's what we focus on.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super interesting because with the launch, for example, of Jordan meme, right? And you're seeing this new crazy wave, and how that was like the first time I got a hint of this crazy digital art phase, right? Where I discovered, for example, FEWOCiOUS and other artists building and creating really nice pieces online. And I feel like meme, for whatever reason, brought that to the attention of many people, right? And I know you guys work a lot on consultancy related stuff, if I'm not mistaken, on the side with helping people with their meme campaigns. Kind of tell me, when it comes to creating these strategies, how do you bring an NFT campaign to life, right? Like when you're creating these unique digital goods, like what are those key things that you look for when trying to push it out to the ecosystem?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think to your first point about like your first kind of real experience with NFTs or this NFT craze was on the meme project. That's really exciting, and we hear a lot about that. We hear a lot of people say the same thing. It's like, hey, I'm a DeFi guy. I've been yield farming a bunch, but it wasn't until using the meme project I owned my first NFT, and that was really cool. As someone who's owned a CryptoKitty, I've used OpenSea a lot. I've collected a number of games and projects and collectibles and art since 2017. It kind of blew my mind that we have these crypto people that it's almost like they don't fully experience the crypto scene or the full crypto experience without getting into NFTs, because it uses some of that same technology, and it goes beyond money. It's like, okay, we've with Ethereum and Bitcoin and all these other tokens, this is all money, but now we're able to tap into like things, digital assets, and provably unique digital assets. So it's really excited to like introduce a bunch of these DeFi degens to the world of NFTs. A lot of people saw it initially as a way to make more money, right? They can mint these, they can mine for these NFTs and then go flip them on OpenSea, and their return was pretty great. But then we saw a lot of people that didn't want to flip it and they wanted to hold on to it. And we've been experiencing, we've been doing a lot of experimentation around extra utility. Once you have these NFTs, what can you do with that? And we did a project with LA Blockchain Summit and done some other cool things. But I think what it comes down to is, when we launched, we were like, okay, well, given my following and some of the stuff that I've built in the past, we're going to get a lot of DeFi people. So let's create like this card game, like baseball cards, but instead of athletes, let's put some crypto celebs on them. So we did that, this Genesis pool, crypto celebs, Ethereum DeFi influencers on these cards. And that kind of sustained us in the early days. But then, once we saw like the success of that first batch, artists started lining up. And it was really cool to, get inbound requests from some of the top artists in the NFT space. And so we started just with like working one by one with some artists, and it was hard to deny like this attraction towards NFTs from the DeFi community. And then it kind of clicked where it was like, this could almost be like a marketing service or a campaign service. It's almost like NFT distribution as a service. And so we partnered with a couple different projects. First was Prime DAO, and then on Friday we're launching Badger DAO, and we're in talks with a bunch of different groups. And so what we do, we kind of jump in and we figure out, okay, what's their brand like, what's their community like, and we create NFTs for them. We create the mechanics and create the pools on our site where their users mix with our users. We kind of mash up the two communities. They come to our site, they get really excited about minting or mining these NFTs. And it's just a cool way to like use our brand, use our mechanics, use our community, the power of our community to really kind of give a boost and provide a service and add value to the community as a whole. It's been really fun.
Yeah. And like, okay, so you take it from the consulting end, right? You did like with LA Blockchain Summit, Prime DAO. FEWOCiOUS takes it from the digital art perspective, right? Emma takes from the fashion perspective, but DeFi Money Market, which full disclaimer is a portfolio company of ours, just announced something this week, which I personally found super interesting from the whole franchise, right? Selling franchise rights as a form of NFTs. Javier, kind of tell us more about that.
So like everybody here has seen already, there's use cases for NFTs. And I think like one of the different things that the DeFi Money Market Foundation is doing is actually taking these NFTs and tokenizing real world countries. And so what you do with ownership of these NFTs gives you ability to draw down funds from our M token deposit pool. And you're actually able to loan out this funds to your country and sort of provide capital. You're able to get cheap capital and also introduce new assets into the ecosystem. So I guess it's creating like a new dynamic because we're introducing franchise rights with these NFTs, and it's doing, I guess, two things on the flip side. One, it's providing cheaper access to capital to financial institutions in third world countries or countries where there's a lot higher rates. So it's a kind of a different use case than what's been seen with everybody else here with like the digital art thing. So I think it's a new take on how NFTs are done.
Yeah, it's super. Go ahead, Alon.
Yeah, well, you went kind of fast, but like, so there's, and of course, Adam said they're a portfolio company of ours, so this is one that I know a lot about, but I'm also learning, like some of the details. So you guys did the other day launch a batch of the NFTs. They represented certain countries. I went in and I actually got one in the 5 minutes before they sold out, which I think I'm deciding what to do with it. So I'm open to ideas in the chat, but I was thinking of actually donating it to Prime. I was going to say Prime DAO, but I was to Adele, to DLN, to the Decentralized Lending Network, because they're going to create a micro lending platform for developing countries. And one of their prime areas is Africa, and I got the only one that was available in Africa, which was Nigeria. So, but it's really, really cool. So now that I have that NFT, you know, it's different, right? Like I can still sell it and trade it on OpenSea, I think, right? But what do I have? If I have the one from Nigeria, like what kind of rights do I have for the assets in that country? I would love to learn more, because I think this is like taking the utility that Jordan was talking about to like a whole different level. This isn't like, hey, you get in a chat room or you have a membership card. This is like owning a licensing to a country.
I'll break it down. So I guess there's two different types of NFTs. There's principal and affiliate member NFTs. And basically what this differentiates them from the two is that each NFT receives an origination fee from the loans you're loaning out. So for example, the principal members would actually receive 0.75%. And you can think of this similar to like mortgage points on a mortgage. It kind of works like it's a similar analogy like that. And affiliates members get 0.5% of these NFTs. So in order to become an asset introducer, you need to acquire an NFT. And this basically allows you that once you're voted in by the DAO, you're able to draw down funds from the M token pools and use that to acquire real world income producing assets in your geographical region and lend it out. So that's basically how it works. So in your case,
so through like DLN,
yeah,
so like through DLN or a group that's doing business in Africa, I could, you know, transfer it to them, and they could take assets in Nigeria, sort of represent them on chain, and then the M tokens that back those assets will be able to earn interest for basically they'll be able to loan or not lend. Yeah, they'll be able to lend money or receive money for their assets from DMM where they couldn't have from traditional banks.
Yeah, exactly. So that kind of goes hand in hand with the point I was talking about of access to cheaper capital, because a lot of these financial institutions can't go to the Fed to get cheaper capital at a discount rate. So they're paying insanely high interest rates for capital. So the DMM gives a to these financial institutions to be able to loan out more with having to pay a cheaper coupon. And so, yeah, with your Nigerian NFT, you could transfer it to a financial institution in Nigeria, or you can even help, I guess, be like a third party for a loan servicer and help them lend it out through using your NFT.
Or I could auction it off on OpenSea and make a bunch of money and forget donating it to a DAO.
So actually, yeah. I kind of want to go into this because when I try to explain NFTs to my mom, and because she's an artist herself, she creates a lot of like physical art, okay? And I told her there's this new wave of digital art happening online. And what you could do, you could basically digitize the art that you're making right now, post it on OpenSea or a similar platform, right? And sell it to someone virtually, digitally. And my question, and I guess Alex in FEWOCiOUS, this is more for the both of you, is once I have this digital art collectible, right? I buy a digital copy of it. What do I do with it next, right? Does it just sit in my wallet? How do I present it? Is there like LED boards that I can buy, or like TVs where I just project it? Like what have you seen people do with these NFTs after they purchase them? Versus rather than just trading them and flipping them, right? Actually using them and enjoying them as art.
So I've seen a couple sites for just creating interesting looking galleries of all of your art. There's Crypto Goods. There's a couple that are in progress. FEWOCiOUS might be able to add to this list. But like what people are doing right now is talking about the art in social media. I think displaying the art will become a really big thing in the future. But in social media and Discord and Twitter, now it's really easy to show that you own a piece and for people to verify that. And that means that there's like really rich discussions about art and ownership and like the ability to trade without having to trust the person you're talking to directly. So that's kind of what's happening in the short term. And long term, there's a lot of like in progress virtual galleries where you can go into Somnium space, put on a headset and see your art on a virtual gallery.
Okay.
Put it up on a plot of land that you own. And like VR is still in its really early days. So that's kind of probably far out because VR needs to be a big thing before that can be a big thing. But there are people, I mean, there are a lot of cool projects that combine art with games. And you could call Meme one of the most interesting, because now you can play like interesting finance liquidity games and set up like a healthy finance ecosystem using art as an incentive. And this art, by being like rare and high quality, becomes valuable in and of its own right. And it's earnable by providing liquidity for Meme. So interoperability with other apps is also like one of the biggest use cases right now.
Super interesting. FEWOCiOUS and Emma, I see both of you nodding your heads. I want to hear from your perspective too. Go ahead, FEWOCiOUS.
There's so many. Oh my goodness. Like you said, Somnium, but there's also like the not VR, I don't know, the other virtual spaces that aren't VR, like crypto voxels. Like 2 of my collectors have a crypto voxels plot, and we're like, I made a thing, come join. And you can just log in on your phone and you click it and you walk around and you see your art in either, I don't know what they use the space for. Some make a gallery. Some just have a cool space. They're like, I didn't know what to do, so I just put your art here. And it's cool because people go to it and you can hover over it and click on the image, for example, like my art, and it'll show like who owns it. And it shows like, oh, I'm the guy who bought this picture, the NFT. And so that's what some people do. There's the Decentraland.
So what you mentioned right now, that's like a virtual gallery, right? But through your phone. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got you.
And then I know Nifty Gateway. I think they have a thing for Apple TV where if you have a smart TV or Apple, you just connect to your Nifty account and it'll just show your Nifties and what you have on your smart TV. But Samsung and MetMural has their own special digital frames and your wallet, and it'll show your art and whatever you put. It's beautiful.
They integrate directly to your wallet. It's not even like a third-party app or something?
I think it's a third-party app that connects to your wallet, but
like that's pretty advanced on Samsung's end. If
it's
they would
really
do that.
cool. And it looks
Emma,
good too.
yeah.
I thought it would look bad, but it looks good.
Okay. Emma, what have you seen? Because I went to your website, and one of the coolest things that I saw is a YFI inspired high heel, right?
Yeah.
That sold for like a little bit over $500, right? So you buy this really sick piece of art, right? But it's now from the fashion side of things. What have you seen your users do with that?
Sure.
Outside of what FEWOCiOUS or Alex kind of mentioned.
So I think, digital fashion for NFTs, we're kind of bringing it into the space. So it's very new. I guess it's kind of different perspective than crypto art because although there's that like creativity and artistry behind it in terms of, this 3D modeling and design, I guess that it's kind of the expectation there from an NFT side of this is that it has more utility attached to it. And I guess the biggest use case at the moment, it's a lot around like the gaming and the VR side and how you can kind of buy these assets and then say take them into and wear them on your avatar, or even something different, like from maybe a functionality perspective. Like if you had these DeFi shoes that you're talking about, maybe they're going to give you like a boost of power or speed or something within a game. So I think there's kind of like cool utility and use cases around there. And I guess fashion is kind of quite broad because if you think about where general kind of real-time 3D industry is going, it's a lot around experiences. And like particularly with COVID, there's a lot of kind of startups and companies now that are, doing like 3D avatar conferences where you can like, instead of just having a Zoom meeting or something like we are now, you'd actually like have the participants be like avatars in like a semi like metaverse. And then there's like the digital concerts. I'm sure that a lot of you heard of the Travis Scott concert that took place earlier this year with Fortnite. This was like really kind of I see digital merchandising for fashion as like a huge use case for the future because particularly from like an artist perspective, if you think about like distribution and reach, when when they're kind of just in the physical world going on like a concert tour, they can probably reach like max 300,000 people, you know, throughout that tour span. But straight away within like a 20-minute or something, or 8-minute, I think it was, the Fortnite Travis Scott concert, it reached like over 20 million people within that span. So it's kind of like, and you know, it's all pre-recorded. The artist just kind of sits there and watches themselves back. So I think that is like a really big use case that we're going to see for the future. And I think that digital fashion will have a really kind of specific niche within that market segment when it comes to more that utility side, because people now, you know, in concerts it's kind of more interactive. There's that side, there's that kind of status as well with self-expression. And I think we'll see really cool models even around like, you know, VIP areas and this, and you kind of be able to show your status as well through the fashion that you've bought or that you're wearing digitally. So yeah, I guess it's a lot, it's very broad, but there's kind of like a few areas that as I'd say like is kind of starting earlier, like the more digital merchandising side, but eventually we'll see it go into probably ways that I can't even imagine right now.
That's super cool. Go ahead.
Really cool. Like the reason I got into crowdfunding over 10 years ago now, well, shit, now it's like 2008 or so, I was working at MySpace, and this is gonna date me, but there was a vanity metric at the time, and maybe it was 2009 when this happened or something like that, between 2008, 2010, I don't freaking know. There was the game Farmville. I don't know if you guys remember Farmville. It was one of the first casual games you would play on social media that connected your social media account to the game. And, you know, it got popular, like moms were using it and stuff like that. I remember all my mom's friends had Farmville, and it was like it was a big deal that they were playing games on their phones, or actually not even on your phone then, it was on your computer. Blackberries were advanced back then. So there was a vanity metric at the time where John Deere officially licensed their name to Farmville. And in Farmville, you could upgrade your tractor to be a John Deere tractor, and you would pay $1 or maybe $1.99, whatever it was, to upgrade. That year, John Deere sold more digital tractors than they sold real tractors in real life. And it was like a huge news story and a big thing amongst all us nerds on the internet, because it was, one, they're not analogous, right? Like a John Deere tractor in real life is like $100,000 or some crazy amount of money, but like that stuff had never happened before. But when we looked at that, we thought about a future where, man, wouldn't it be cool if then we can sell these? And people started selling digital goods from games on eBay and stuff like that, and getting, you know, unofficially and losing money, and some would be, you know, faked and all this stuff. So like it's taken 10 plus years for this to happen, but now it's happening. And what Emma is talking about is huge. You know, like imagine getting a pair of shoes that could give me special powers in one game, or just be fashionable for my avatar when I go into, 5 years from now, when I go into some virtual reality concert, I've got that 2010 version of the shoe that they don't make anymore, that only 1,000 people have. Like that's a big deal. People are doing that, like joking in the chat room, Jordans and stuff like that. Like I wish I saved my shoes from when I was like a teenager. So this is really, really cool stuff. But I wanted to give into most of you guys. I think all of you guys are way younger than me, so I wanted to throw that perspective out there that like this is not like brand new, but the way you guys are doing it, and it is brand new, and it's taking it to a whole different level. Really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, and also Emma, I see on DIGITALAX this ICO suit, which is super cool, right? Now, after I buy this ICO suit, will someone actually, is there any possibility of somebody actually making this into a physical suit of some sort, and someone attaching like a physical good to it, which they then mail to you? I've heard examples of stuff like that happening in other industries, like wine, for example, like people kind of verifying a limited amount of grapes and creating a really unique wine, and people buying the NFT and getting the wine bottle. Like, is that something that you guys envision, like taking the digital to the physical?
Look, there's definitely a use case there. I think to start with, we're focused a lot on like digital only, and kind of more the use cases around that side. But definitely, I mean, I know that even I think it's Artifact that kind of like they do like really cool like cyber sneakers and stuff on Super Rare. That a lot of their designs, I might be completely wrong, but I think they do like the cool physical version as well as the digital version. So when a buyer they get both. So definitely, I mean, so it's not just like the buyers getting like the rendered, like just a PNG file or GIF file. They're actually getting the actual 3D model itself, which is stored in IPFS. So we're giving them the FBX file as well, which means that they can actually kind of take these assets and put them into other 3D softwares, and then connect them and kind of rework them. So definitely the kind of possibilities are endless, where they could, potentially create or work with someone to create a physical kind of prototype of that digital asset, or even, take into kind of different 3D environments.
Yeah, it's super cool.
I want to make a hat that has a super thin LED screen right on the front, and then buy one of FEWOCiOUS's arts, and then like somehow prove that I have the actual NFT, so I can wear it on my head at crypto events and be like, I spent like 10 grand on this, guys. Like there is this online, like when I share people my like OpenSea username, they see that I have the one of one. But if I'm just wearing a shirt with an image, we don't know if I actually have the one of one. It could be a knockoff. So we need to somehow have that verification.
Alex, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Alex. Yeah.
This is a little off topic, but FEWOCiOUS, did you make the font for FEWOCiOUS?
Yeah, I drew it.
That's awesome. So one NFT that I'm kind of excited for, that I'm hoping we'll see more of, is art where you get the rights to use the art somewhere else when you buy it. An example would be selling fonts. No one has done this to my knowledge, but I would love to buy a font as an NFT. You can make like a whole bunch of licenses for one font. Someone buys it, and now they're allowed to use it on their website. Another one that I have seen is music, where you buy or beats. You buy some sort of beat, kind of like the stuff you find in iMovie from way back in the day, and now you can use it in a video, where you buy like a little score and you can use it in a YouTube video. And this is really useful because there's tons of copyright complaints that YouTube gets every day, and there's no way to verify if someone has bought the rights to it. Now there is.
So do you think YouTube is gonna adopt some form of NFT infrastructure when it comes to music rights of some sort? Like where I'm going with, or is that just would that be too outside of out of their wheelhouse, you think?
I think music is pretty big gamble because so much stuff needs to change there. But for a new type of digital good, like fonts or like font rights, or it could be rights to remix art, like maybe the right to remix crypto art and create your own piece. That could be interesting. And maybe it's not YouTube that adds the infrastructure to check ownership, but some other site does.
Maybe like a new version of Creative Commons needs to be created for crypto, where like a version of that. Because I don't think, or go ahead.
Sorry. I didn't kind of follow your point directly, but also stock photography.
Yeah, well, they have stock photography, certain rights, and there's the Creative Commons kind of open source rules and different things like that. There's different licenses, like Consensus has their standard license for their stuff they do, and different groups have different licenses. But I don't think it's that far off, Adam, to think about that, because think about the head of the New York Stock or NASDAQ, I think the New York Stock Exchange guy said that within 10 years, all stocks are going to be digitized, right? That's them adopting a whole new way of representing the ownership of everything they do every single day. What Javier is doing, like what DeFi money market is doing, is basically just circumventing the banks and saying, fuck it, we're not going to create these long contracts and all this stuff, and just let the DAO govern, licensing rights, and let the NFT represent those rights. So why couldn't, if I'm an artist, say, if you hold this NFT, you have the right to do this, prove you hold it, you could do whatever you want. you don't hold it, then you don't. And now you can, and by the way, traded on OpenSea, so I could get a commission each time it's traded. So I can get perpetual rights, so that if, you know, my art, if FEWOCiOUS sells her art again in 10 years for $1 million, she should get a little percentage of it, the way artists should get paid, but don't.
Alex, I see you like thinking. I see you looking at one direction. I feel like your mind is going. Are you like, are new ideas coming to you right now?
No, I'm listening. That's just what I look in weird directions when I think.
I'm with you. I want to bring FEWOCiOUS again, because she made headlines this week, right? Or about one of the art pieces that you sold. So congratulations. Kind of tell everybody about that and what that consisted of. And most importantly, because I've seen your YouTube videos, I follow your content, right? You put a lot of stuff, a lot of work into the pieces you push out. So talk to us about the headline that you made, right? And also like the creative process that went to making something like that.
So I drew the New York City skyline. It was a commission by Anthony Pompliano and Jason Williams. The idea, like the prompt, was New York City skyline. And I did whatever. They're like, there wasn't like guidelines like, oh, you need to use this color. Like, no, it was just do whatever you want. Here's the prompt, go. So I was like, okay, I need to do research. So I just went in VR and walked around, because I've never been to New York City. So I went in VR, I walked around. I was like, wow, these buildings are tall. And then I went on Google and just learned about the city and like the buildings, what went behind the buildings. And it took about a month, including research, to just figure out what I'm going to do, how to make it look pretty, the sizing, where I'm going to put each landmark so it makes sense and it's not a busy, ugly mess. And then I already forgot the question. I got so excited.
No, I mean, so like that was the question. Like the whole creative process would come in up to something like that, and the headline, right, of it selling for X amount. I mean, I'll let you talk more about that.
Yeah, we sold it on Nifty. It sold for $21,000, and that was nuts. I don't know. I didn't know.
Cheers to that. That's pretty crazy.
Were you like watching it live and freaking out?
I was looking at Nifty, and it was at, I forgot what it was at. It was at like 10,000 or something, and I was like so pumped. I was like, yeah, this is so cool. 10,000. Oh wow. And I was just so honored, because it was getting a lot of bids at first from different people. And I was like, whoa, all these people are watching and interested to spend thousands, because it's just, that's a lot of money. So I felt so honored and excited and happy that all these people were believing in like the art and like my art and just NFTs in general. And 24 hours passed, or not 24 hours, a few hours passed. It was only a few hour auction. It was like 4 hours, and then it sold $21,000.
Wow. And did that person immediately relist it, or is it like a collector who just holds on to that stuff?
No, they still have it held.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty crazy. Like it's a pretty crazy story. And one, it was beautiful, right? The whole art piece itself was really well done. But then again, to see where people's heads are, right? To see where art buyers, where they're thinking, right? About where something is rare, right? Where something is unique. What's the story behind this? And people are willing to spend like large amounts of money on digital art online. It's and for something that you can't touch, right? Something that's more of a visual experience than it is a physical experience where you see in typical art. So it's pretty crazy. And Alex, like on OpenSea, I see pieces go on there like casually 2,000, sometimes even like 20,000 as well. And people are just willing to put that much money, and like obviously some immediately flip it. But it's just crazy to me, like the direction where all this digital, these digital collectibles are heading. And Jordan, I feel like you can speak more on this, and why do you think people are drawing such an interest? And I come to you with this question because meme was that first occurrence for many people when it came to NFTs. What do you think it is about NFTs that just draws this crowd?
We can't ignore the hype on Twitter and Telegram. Everybody's talking about it, so that just kind of chain reaction. But I think a lot of people are excited because, so A, being like collectibles and art, really the first kind of use case for this tech, even though it can kind of solve a bunch of other problems like what DeFi money market is doing. But with regards to art stuff, I think, like, I really do think it's like an extension. It's falling further down the rabbit hole, right? Like you figure out what blockchain and Bitcoin is, then you learn about Ethereum and your mind is blown on all the types of products that we can build with smart contracts. Then you learn about NFTs and my mind was blown when it's like, wow, we could actually have like digital representations of content or digital representations of real world items or art. So I think it's really exciting when you have something that's digital. Everyone is digital, of course. Everyone's connected to their phones or laptops. It's just a natural extension of like where people are going. And you now have something that's provably rare. You can prove that you own it, so it's provably yours. You can track who's owned it before you. So if Alon buys a FEWOCiOUS and then I buy it from Alon, you can see that all the people in the path down the line that have owned it, provenance. It's pretty fun. I think it's no coincidence that like collectible type games was really like the first major use case, and now we're seeing a lot of like amazing digital artists use this as another, or sometimes the only opportunity to earn income doing art. I think it's again this thing that we're building where some of the top artists are coming into the space. That's going to attract users. This adding a bunch of users is going to attract even more digital artists. So it's really just continues to build up on each other, and it's really fun to be a participant in this space.
Yeah, it's really cool. And Emma, like you were telling me more about, right, and Jordan, with you talking about the whole rareness to it, right? The whole scarcity element to it. Also in fashion, a lot of that stuff exists, if I'm not mistaken, right? So while it's more of a controversial topic and you're talking about like leather, for example, like snakeskin, or you're talking about other forms of unique elements that integrate into fashion already, how do you imagine the Nordstroms, the Bloomingdales, the PacSuns, the Tillys of the world coming and joining like NFT fashion? Like, where do you see that evolving, and where do you see their position in that whole sphere?
Sure. Guess it's kind of a loaded question in a sense of take different paths. So I think digital fashion is quite unique because right now, if you just think about general fashion industry, it's very like mafia in a sense. So you have like 5 or 10 top brands, and they pretty much take like 80 to 90% of all the profit that comes through that fashion industry for a year. So I think that digital fashion is going to kind of democratize a lot of like access for independent designers, just kind of like what Jordan was saying with distribution for artists. It's a similar kind of channel where, now you don't really need to have huge brand power in terms of physical stores. And I think that that's kind of interesting because if you think about kind of, the different kind of cycles that we've been through, 20 years ago, if you were a fashion designer, in order to get any distribution or access, you had to kind of set up a brick and mortar store and kind of pay, like an upfront fee and have all these overheads. And then when the internet came and kind of e-commerce became much bigger, this kind of changed a lot because now you could be really anywhere in the world as a designer. And as long as you kind of had access to a supply chain, you could just list your items on a store. And I think now digital fashion is kind of a next paradigm in that because you no longer need to organize or access a supply chain. You can kind of just do everything within one 3D software and, then ship that globally into multiple of, different utility and use cases in that sense. So I think that definitely there will still be like brand power in the fashion industry, because if you think about like status and exclusivity and these kind of things, a lot of it does come down to the brand and kind of like that brand image that people want. But I do believe that this idea of like an digital designer or digital fashion designer, it's going to be a lot kind of more prevalent, I would say.
Interesting. Yeah, my head is like going in different directions of thinking like to the extreme cases in terms of art, in terms of fashion, in terms of music, in terms of auctioning, in terms of pineapples, like all these new interesting concepts just coming to life. And to think, I don't know, I see COVID as one of those things that really sparked a lot of this energy, a lot of this creative energy. And I'm just really glad to have all of you guys over here, because it's opening my mind selfishly to like different directions. And with that, I kind of want to jump into the QA because there's some interesting questions that people are kind of submitting. So with the first one, this one comes from Justin Cooper. With so many NFTs now hitting the marketplace, how do you ensure artists and others get visibility on platforms to, I guess, entice interest and value? So I guess this one's tailored more towards you, Alex.
I'm just going to read the question.
Yeah.
The exact amount. This is the
It's
first
at the
one.
top. Yeah, at the top.
So good question. Visibility is going to get tougher when supply increases and number of artists grows. And we've definitely heard some people ask, like, well, does this mean that the value of each piece is going to go down? How do I get noticed? Like, how do I show up in search results higher up? What's the algorithm for the ranking here, et cetera? So a good, like, first of all, the pieces that new artists and new creators get noticed are just very different. And it helps to make a lot of pieces that are different in a similar way. So you're showing a style. It's kind of like making a Pinterest board. And people see the style and they're like, oh, I kind of want to buy into that. I believe that this style is cool and that other people are going to think it's cool. It's kind of like I'm investing in a style. And it can be now not just visual, it can be an animated like set. It can be videos, it can be music, it can be 3D models. And it can be game items and items that are interoperable with other dApps. So once you have your style, the next thing to do is figure out like how to organize it. And what helps is creating a dedicated collection and getting yourself verified. So we have two kinds of collections in the NFT space. Ones that are unverified, like basically someone uploaded a smart and started minting NFTs, and no one has checked that the images connected to those NFTs are original, that the creator actually has the rights to sell them, etc. So that's the big chaotic anarchy, state of nature that we start with. Those contracts by default don't show up when you search for collections on OpenSea. You can visit the items by just hitting the URL, if you know the token ID on OpenSea, but users won't be able to discover them. So you gotta do something to get discoverable. And to do that, you have to visit your collection on OpenSea and click Submit for Review. And that's when our auditors go through and check that you aren't doing anything illegal and you actually own the rights to sell the stuff that you're uploading. So then you get a little blue check mark on your collection. That's actually a huge step that most collections don't do. But we do have like the longest lasting and largest collection of verified collections in the NFT space. So then your collection will get discoverable in search results. And the third step, and this is pretty critical, is to have some kind of community. And when you like set this up, maybe it's a Twitter account, maybe it's a Discord, talk to collectors and tell them that you're working on a new piece and you want feedback on it. And we think the critical step to get noticed and to really start ranking well in search results is to get a well-known collector to agree with you and buy one of your pieces. And one of the crazy things about this is getting a little long-winded, so I'll wrap it up. But one of the crazy cool things about the NFT space is how transparent it is. When someone well-ish known buys one of your pieces, everyone will see it. It will be super public. There will be little like bots and scrapers that suddenly detect that so-and-so bought a piece from a new artist. And then other people start to notice, and there's this flood. It's a cool network effect that's enabled by the really radical transparency of the space. So kind of follow those steps, get verified, be legit, and then have some kind of community and get buy-in from someone in other communities so that people will look and notice you.
So that was like an SEO hack right there.
Well,
that was
thing I want to throw out there is everything that Alex has said is spot on, and it all revolves around you getting your shit together and actually doing something and promoting it. It's not that it's that hard, it's that you just have to like do a little work. You have to promote yourself. You've got to find the right people, network with them. All the same things everyone does offline to be a successful artist can be translated online. I know from experience, this is one thing that I've known from the past and done really well in the marketing world of things is that, there's no amount of work you can put on other people that will work as well as if you did it yourself. And OpenSea can amplify all the work that you do. But just throwing something up on OpenSea is not going to make you successful. You've got to do it. So like if you're in the traditional art world or in certain, genres that you're into, like I know being a punk rocker in Southern California, the best punk bands weren't the most popular punk bands. The most popular punk bands were the ones that had at least one member in the band that worked their ass off and was really good at marketing, and would be the person going around slapping flyers on telephone poles and going into every record shop and doing things like that. So you've got to work your butt off, but you're early in a really cool space where everyone wants to help everyone. And if you work your butt off, you will succeed.
I love it. Let's go into another question because I know we're coming close to our time. So I see a lot of NFTs featuring the IP characters or pop culture icons of major companies. How do they sell them without avoiding copyright infringement lawsuits? Pretty good question.
Yeah, I would say I would kind of break it up because we are seeing officially licensed products out there, right? From the NBA, Dapper Labs has a deal with the NBA to do NBA Top Shot. Animoca Brands has a deal with F1 to do their thing. So pretty exciting that we're starting to see more and more media companies and entertainment companies and IP holders see the power of NFTs. I think that's really bullish signal that they're creating officially licensed NFT digital products. And then assuming they weren't talking about that, you could get into the issue of an artist taking, unlicensed, taking Mickey Mouse and, creating an NFT from that and publishing it. I think there are some laws around like what's considered like satire or how much of a thing you can use. Can you make derivatives? I think that's when we get into, consult a lawyer territory. But a lot of this is unknown. We're going into this territory where no one knows what the future holds, just crypto in general and all the legal questions. And now you get into like rights management, and the blockchain is supposed to help solve some of these rights issues, the licensing issues, right? But it's in some cases it's causing more and more confusion because anyone can go, like we've been discussing, create fraudulent work. So it's solving a problem and creating another problem. But I think when it comes down to it, it's up to the buyer to do their homework, verify verify that this is legit, everything's licensed, this is from the right smart contract address, it's got a verified symbol, whatever it is. I think it's up to the collector.
Fair. Okay, next question. So I guess this one's more for Javier. For the country NFTs and the DMM franchise rights, do you have to live in that country or have a bank or have bank connections for that to be profitable? How could an ordinary person use this?
Well, it's a great question. And so the main thing to, I guess, that there's only going to be a certain amount of NFTs ever minted. So if you're quite bullish on the ecosystem, as the ecosystem starts to grow, more of these NFTs are going to be locked up and simultaneously taking DMG out of the circulating supply. And so the important thing about these NFTs is that since they're limited, if you get your hands on these NFTs earlier, and we also have like a linear discount as the earlier you get it. But if you get these NFTs earlier, as larger financial institutions start entering the ecosystem, if they want to become a principal or affiliate member, they're going to have to own an NFT. So you can basically sell your NFT at a premium to these larger financial institutions to allow them to ecosystem. You could also take the second round and actually introduce assets yourself for the country, like I mentioned with Alon and the Nigerian NFT. It just really depends like what you're trying to do. But yeah, you don't need to live in it.
I saw in the comments something about Nigerian princes, right? A Nigerian prince and and owning Nigeria, but that's not what that is.
I won't lie, that crossed my mind when I bought it, and I thought it would be kind of funny to own the Nigerian one for that reason. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. Obviously, I don't have a family connection or any connections to Nigeria, so I'd rather give it to an organization that does. I'm more promoting and supporting DMM as an investor in them than I am speculating on the NFTs, but it's a really, really cool opportunity. And so I'm going to donate it to somebody doing something good in that region.
So really quick, maybe I missed this, but Javier, once you buy the franchise rights, right, what do you do next with it? What's the next step?
Yeah, so the first thing you have to do is actually get approved by the DAO. So once you acquire the NFT, you would put up a governance proposal and the DAO would actually vote you in. And once they vote you in, it's actually activating the NFT, so it allows you to draw down funds based on what the debt ceiling is or how much funds your NFT is limited to.
So you have to prove that you're a legitimate group that will bring real assets to it. You're not just, people like me that bought the NFT and I have no connection, so you wouldn't approve me to bring assets in Nigeria because I've never been to Nigeria and don't know anyone in Nigeria. So I should actually probably transfer it sooner rather than later so that group can do something good. That's really, really cool. By the way, I just saw the question in there, so I'll just answer it really quickly. Javier's website is defimoneymarket.com. DEFI moneymarket.com.
Cool. And I want to end with this question because we're already past 6 and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Where is it? I just missed it. The question was something like, if I'm new to the whole entire NFT space, right? Whether it be on the art side, whether it be on the fashion side, how can I just get started in general with NFTs? Like, what's the best way to put your first foot into something? And I want to hear it from all of you guys. So we can start from Alex and then go to Emma, FEWOCiOUS, Javier, and Jordan. So what's the best way to get started with NFTs?
So, well, we'll have an art-focused blog post to answer this question shortly. The best way to get started, I think, is explore the art category on OpenSea. This is an art-specific question, I think. And once you see sort of the different collections and creators, go check out their Twitter profiles, which are linked on the collections themselves. Category, Twitter is the dominant social media place. So all of the good discussions are happening there. And look at the most, maybe sort by highest last sale. So you see the pieces that have sold for the most, and go check out the Twitter profiles of all of those companies and artists. And you'll get, FEWOCiOUS's Twitter profile as an example, you'll get a really good sense of what is happening with the space, where the art is being created, how it's being sold, what sort of auctions are being done. Participate in one of those things. And then there are lots of different platforms for creating art and for doing your own. And once you get a sense of what the social scene is, you can create your own Twitter identity for your art, and then really get involved and start minting and selling.
Emma, best way to get started with NFTs for someone who's a newbie, and let's say this is the first time they've ever heard of NFTs, was on blockchain and booze.
Sure. I would say actually go to Discord. Go to the Token Smart Discord channel. They have a really strong community, and they run every day. They're running 10, it's kind of actually crazy. They're super active, and it's all about NFTs. So there's a lot of the whales that hang out there as well. They set up chats for different NFT projects, different channels in a sense. And then they have 10 podcasts, literally, or streams running a day where there's artists explaining things, where there's kind of just community coming and talking, where there's investors coming, all kind of different from all ends of the spectrum. So I would say that's kind of the best way, because you can kind of just get an understanding of everything that's going on in the space.
Okay, cool. And can you drop the link to that Discord?
Yeah,
I see a few people already asking about it. FEWOCiOUS, best way to get started with NFTs. Go.
Best way to get started, like what Alex said and Emma said, just go to Twitter, go to NFT art platform, and if you just go and scroll down to most recent and click on profiles and just follow, you're forced. That's what I did. I didn't know anything about this space, so I just followed all these people, and for as long as I follow them, I just see all of this stuff. I see them post the charts of ETH and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't even know what this is, but I'm forced to see it. And the more you see it, the more you learn. And on Discord, each platform has their own server. So if you're just in the server and you're reading, even if you don't know what it means, you're just reading it. And then as time goes on, you're like, oh, I remember hearing that. And then you connect it, you listen to the podcast, you watch YouTube videos, and slowly things make more sense. So I say just follow random people, and then the people you don't like, just unfollow. But ones that you're like, oh, this is kind of interesting, then stay followed. And then it's a branches and vines.
I love it. Javier, best way to get started with NFTs? I guess you're more we've been talking a lot about art, right, and digital art, but I guess more on the DeFi finance side. Best way to get started with NFTs.
Yeah, I guess so. I'll kind of answer a little bit of both. I think the best thing to do is just to read about the subject. There's a lot of informational material out there on Medium. And even if you want to learn to make your own NFT, you don't have to learn any of the solidity behind it. You can actually find dApps that can help you create your own NFTs. So the main thing is to really just read. And then more on the finance side, if you want to learn more about NFTs in our ecosystem, we've released a lot of Medium posts that highlight how they work. And we have a purchasing platform that you can go through and look at how to actually acquire the NFT. So it's a pretty cool use case, and it's pretty cool. So if you want to check it out, just check out the Medium and stuff.
Cool. And last but not least, Jordan, where can we learn more about NFTs? How do we get started?
I think OpenSea has done a really cool job. And if you're interested in digging into the technical side a little bit more, their NFT Bible is a really great resource. I so much has been said right now about how to kind of get more involved in the art side. I would say on the collectible side, there's probably something for you depending on what you like. If you liked collecting basketball cards, there's NBA Top Shot. If you love cartoon kitties, you know where to go. If you like horse racing or F1 racing, or there's so many different collectibles. Aside from the art stuff, which is awesome. Like there's so many of these like gamified things, Axie Infinity, not to mention all the other like metaverse platforms and virtual platforms. I would say carve out a day and maybe half an ETH and just experiment, chalk it up to learning, and then just throw money all around, and not a lot, but a little bit of ETH just to figure out, okay, I like what they're doing over here. I don't quite get what they're doing over there. I like what's been said around that. One interesting thing too is as you're a collector, you might see some of these pieces. Like if you're a FEWOCiOUS collector, it might be difficult because, as mentioned, like to get a FEWOCiOUS original, it might cost you 20 ETH, 50 ETH, whatever it is. What's really cool is at the risk of shilling my project, is platforms like Meme allow more of an approachable, accessible distribution of NFTs. And I don't know if you'll hate me for dropping this, but FEWOCiOUS is one of the next artists on the Meme platform. Really excited.
Yeah.
Wow, nice.
So for like, so I'm super jazzed, but there'll be a few that are like quantities a little bit higher, and you don't have to outright buy it, but you stake tokens to get it, right? So it's more, it's accessible. It's not like, oh, I gotta drop 30 grand for this stuff. Like projects like ours, we're doing things to just democratize it, break down the barriers of owning some of this stuff, because it's really exciting. We want everyone to be involved.
I love it. This was really good, guys. Go ahead.
Before you end it and send everyone,
Yeah.
I want to give extra love again to, I was going to say, Jordan mentioned at the beginning, love it. Damn it, Brian keeps saying every time Adam says he loves it, and I say it too. So really,
everybody should be hammered right now.
we should have a drinking game for real one of these times. But OpenSea, I think it's, if I remember correctly, it's your pinned tweet on the OpenSea account is the NFT Bible. That document was really, really helpful for me when I wanted to get more technical and actually learn the smart contract part of everything all. So check that out. And then if you look at their FAQ and documentation, it's probably the best out there. Something also just throw out there for artists I want to do it. The easiest platform I found, and I tested a bunch of them, and maybe people in the chat might give me shit and tell me other ones, but I played with a bunch of them. And my benchmark is always, if I can do it from my phone while watching Real Housewives on the couch, then it's easy enough to do. So I've actually, Rarible has been the easiest one for me to just create a collection, mint an NFT literally from my phone. But then I think I do all of my buying and selling and trading and goofing around with them on OpenSea afterwards. But yeah.
Cool. Before I break it off, I want to give everyone a chance to plug themselves and their projects and where we can find them. So we can start with Alex, and again, just work our way down. So Alex, where can we find you? Where can we learn more about OpenSea and what you guys are doing over there?
I just posted the link to the tweet with the NFT Bible in the chat. So yeah, check out the Bible. My name's Alex, Xander Atallah with an X on Twitter. That's the best place to talk to me and find me. And OpenSea is OpenSea.io, and Twitter handle is @OpenSea. So, and if you have a project and you want to show off what you're doing, mention us, and we'll potentially retweet it and get you some visibility.
Nice. Alon, where can we find and learn more about you, your NFTs, poopoo.eth, and all that stuff that you got going on?
I've been making NFTs for a while, just goofing around for fun. And if you look around, I think the collection was called Disintermedia, but I haven't looked at it in a long time. Though I've been helping my son with his. If you follow me on Twitter, you've seen the poopoo.eth saga of all this stuff that's happened, all the love he got. He's got I think 250 or so at this point members who have bought his membership NFT. And then he airdrops random crap to them all the time. And it's really, really funny and really, really cool. He's literally an 8-year-old making NFTs and just doing goofy shit. It's awesome. I'm actually in his room right now. I was trying to find a picture or something of one of his NFTs, but I can't reach them from here. So, but yeah, check out pupu.eth.link for his fun stuff. And he's excited to watch the rerun of this, actually, because I told him about FEWOCiOUS, and we were watching the auction together and stuff. He's like super stoked.
Nice. Next, FEWOCiOUS, where can we find you, your art, your channel, etc., etc.? Give us the
My
spiel.
name is FEWOCiOUS. Follow me. It's FEWOCiOUS on everything. Currently, I'm working on the meme collection, so stay tuned for that. And that's pretty much what I have ahead. And I don't know, I kind of just update what I'm doing on Twitter. I have a podcast, art pod. Check it out. And yeah, thank you for watching.
Cool. Javier, where can we find you? Where can we learn more about the NFT franchise and DeFi money market?
Yeah, you can find like our main website at defimoneymarket.com. Our Twitter handle is at DMMDAO. We have our Medium is medium.com/DMMDAO. And yeah, and our Telegram, so you can all find that on Twitter and everything. So there's a lot of information to learn about those NFTs.
Cool. And last but not least, Jordan.
Go to don'tbuymeme.com. Just don't buy it. Don't buy meme. We're on Twitter at don't buy meme. I'm Jordan Lyle, Lyall on Twitter. We've got a Telegram. We've got all the channels.
Sorry, guys, my internet just cut.
No, you came in right at the perfect time because Jordan just gave his spiel, and now we were literally about to hand it off to you. So where can we learn more about you, Emma, and what you're working on?
Sure. So probably the best place is our Discord or Telegram. So Discord, to kind of find that, I would just go to digitalax.xyz, and you can see like all of our social media links, and Discord and Telegram, they're the most active at the moment. And then I'm also on Twitter. So my handle is Emma Jane, or at Emma Jane 1313. Yeah.
Cool. And guys, thank you.
Really fast. I just have one random quick question, because I was going to ask this and totally forgot. Javier, is there going to be a date of the next drop of country NFTs? I want to make sure I'm online.
It'd be not this week, but the next one.
All right.
Is there a date set in stone yet?
Not a date set in stone, but we're gonna send out an announcement so everybody can.
Do we know when the FEWOCiOUS meme drop is happening? I need to know these dates. If I miss them, it's always super disappointing to be like an hour late to meme and then you don't get the rare ones.
There should be like a PR newswire. What's that?
You got to just turn on your notifications for Twitter and Telegram. We'll announce the time in the next week or so, or the launch date.
There needs to be like a PR newswire strictly for NFT launches, where everybody gets a notification of some sort. What?
A drop hashtag on Twitter or something.
Something like that, so everybody can stay on loop. But different idea. Someone build that and let us know. We might invest. No.
Along with mine, shout out to Nifty Rank, who helped rank all of they ranked the meme NFTs too, but they ranked all of the ones for the OpenSea COVID collection that we did and linked directly to purchase them on OpenSea. It was a really good way to follow an auction of a bunch of NFTs. It was really cool. So shout out to them.
Cool. Now, yeah, let's do the ending spiel. So right now we're going to break off into networking mode, which is one of my favorite parts, other than talking with all of you amazing panelists. Networking mode is basically me ending presentation mode and all of us, all 100 plus of us, distributing to all these colorful tables, and where we'll be able to bounce from chair to chair, literally by double clicking on a seat, and we'll be able to meet everybody that's been watching and everybody that's been tuning in live. But in order to do that, and in order to meet everyone here with us right now that's live, you're gonna need to turn on your microphones and you're gonna need to turn on your cameras. So mics on, cameras on. FEWOCiOUS, your face is killing me. These reactions of like, oh my God, I'm gonna meet a bunch of people. So mics on, cameras on. I'm gonna end presentation mode. Guys, thank you so much. We'll see you next week on Blockchain and Booze. Until next time, cheers. See ya.
Bye, guys.